get it. Let's get it. Mm-hmm. Let's get it. 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 Let's get it.
Hello.
What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's
Hey.
poppin'? What's poppin'?
Not
Tell
much.
everybody your name. Let's get to it.
Hey y'all, I am Blonde Bougie. I am from East Atlanta, Georgia. And was that it? That's all I was supposed to say.
Now, I'll just tell everybody introduce yourself. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Okay, so.
So I'm Blonde Bougie on Instagram. Everybody calls me Juice. I'm from East Atlanta. I live in South Atlanta. And my alma
Facts,
mater is Albany State Go Rams.
facts. We're gonna get to it. So, you believe, like, for the most part, because I'll listen to your podcast. We're gonna start with it. Listen to
Okay.
it, and I was like, okay, you're giving me Lizzo vibes with your sexuality and everything. Though, somebody ever told you that before? You give like Lizzo vibes,
I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to clarify. What do you
like
mean
Lizzo
Lizzo
vibes. You just
vibes?
give off like Lizzo type energy, just a very colorful, like colorful personality type. Somebody
No,
ever
I've
told
never
you?
heard that before, but I'll take it.
Yeah, take that. Okay. Okay. What made you start doing that though? Like
Yeah,
your
I'll
whole
take it.
your whole talk or whatever, like expressing all your sexual fantasies on there.
So, everybody, my name is the Thick Aficionado on Tales from the Hotation. I'm a podcaster. I am on Pocket Cast. I'm on Rocket Podcast. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, what have you. Follow Tales from the Whole Dash Tation. Okay. And in essence, I became a podcaster because of my love of intimacy, sharing intimacy with people, but also because I'm really passionate about storytelling. I do public speaking. I am a social worker by trade. I'm also a poet. So I just love like narration. I love storytelling. I love reading with my little one. Like it's just my thing. So yeah,
Okay.
that was sort of the inception of what my podcast was born out of.
Okay. Facts. And I fuck with it though. Like the pod or whatever. Do you feel like it's hard to find good sex out here though?
This escalated quickly. Do I feel like it's difficult to find good sex? I think that it's not difficult. What it is people aren't really being honest and communicating what their needs are when it comes to sex. And so, and I'm gonna just speak very candidly as a woman. It's difficult to tell a man where he needs to improve when he may not be the most patient person in bed. He may be rough. He may not be attentive to your orgasm. It's difficult. So a lot of times what women do, like, we'll experiment, we'll see with you, and if we don't want it, we just won't hunt you again. As opposed to communicating, because men have egos that can be a little shallow. So yeah.
Wait, whoa. Women got the biggest egos though. I feel like.
We can agree to disagree.
But I find it funny though because I just look at it like this. I don't believe women are looking for new relationships. Why am I thing keep moving? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't believe women are looking for new relationships for the most part though. I just feel like y'all just looking for new dick though.
I think you might be generalizing a little in the
I ain't
spirit
saying
of
all women. I'm just saying a handful. It's a whole lot. Just looking for new dick, not new meaningful relationships. They just looking for dick though. Would you agree?
and if they are, what's wrong with that?
I
What's
mean, they can do whatever they want to do, but what's in the process of that is the consequence of their life behind it. Now, I'm not telling what they can and can't do, but there's consequences behind that, dude.
To what? What are the
To what?
consequences to having
The consequences is that because it's like I feel like more women are complaining about the state of dating, dude, or whatever. They complain about they can't find a man or the man that they want, or whatever, and then they cry on the internet, or they have kids outside of wedlock, and then they raise the kids or whatever. Why is my thing keep moving? I don't know why. But yeah, they had kids outside of wedlock. Wait, let me finish. I'm gonna let you go. And they had kids outside of wedlock. They complain about the men they got, but they're doing this, and these are the consequences behind that, dude. But they can do whatever they want. But I just don't want them crying, though. I don't like them playing victimhood. But go ahead.
You know, I'm gonna just speak very candidly and say that what you're addressing is very broad. It's very general. It's very broad, and that's not the case for all women. For
I ain't
example,
say all women. Listen, if it don't apply, let it fly.
No, because I think it's fair to speak in advocacy for all women.
I
I
can't
think
speak for
that
all. I'm speaking for like the women who doing it.
I can't speak for them because that's not me. So I'm gonna have to respectfully pass on that because that's not my experience. So I can't speak for them neither.
Okay, but I was just saying that's my opinion on it, though. But yeah, though, that's why I feel like they're looking for new niggas, though. But like, what is your goal though with this? Like, you just looking for like marriage, or you just trying to find like somebody
Go
like
with what?
like with your dating life though? You just are you looking for marriage, or you just looking for somebody like to give you the best sex you want to?
So going back to a remark that you made, you said, so I want to speak specifically what I was going to say.
Well,
I want to speak specifically to single mothers who are dating because that is my experience, right? And you made a little bit of a crass remark about women having children out of wedlock
mm-hmm.
and whining when they can't find a relationship. And listen, I'm not a guru. I'm not a Samuel Light. I don't know who Miss Keisha is and hold dating advice. But what I can speak for myself and say though is the reality of it for me is this. As for me and my household, I dated my daughter's father for 6.5 years. He was my college sweetheart. And we broke up for a year and then we just reconnected and had my daughter. And he was very adamant about wanting to keep her. And I was on the fence about it because he and I weren't together. But in truth, my daughter has a spectacular father and it works for us, right? We have a relationship. We have this co-parenting thing that works. That doesn't necessarily play out that well for everybody else, but I know that I sit in a position of privilege. Having said that, the truth is for me, a lot of my experimentation is coming from a lot of my dating is because my daughter's father took up a large part of my 20s. So I'm almost 30 and now I'm experimenting, if you will. So not only was I mostly in a relationship, I was pregnant. You can't date when you're pregnant. It's not necessarily for me. It's not appropriate. People are allowed to date when they're pregnant. I did not. And then for the
At the end of the day, you was with him for 6 years. You gotta look at yourself too. You gotta look at yourself. Why was I dating
I
this man
didn't
for
say
six
anything
years
about him. I didn't
without
say anything
commitment?
about myself. But the point that I'm making is this. I think it's important for us to recognize like we can't make generalizations because everybody's living.
Ain't nobody generalizing nobody. Wait. Ain't nobody generalizing nobody. If it don't apply, let it fly. If you feel some type of way, you gotta look at yourself on why. I ain't talking about you. I'm just saying in general. So if you feel like it's talking about you, you need to look at yourself and feel like why is this hitting a nerve with me? You gotta look at yourself in the
Well,
mirror
it
and
doesn't apply,
figure it
so
out.
I'm gonna have to let that fly because that's not necessarily my experience. I'm making a
And that's
point
true.
here.
And if it don't, let it be that though. Let it be that. Let it if it don't.
I believe that I can still speak on it though, if that's okay with you. If that's
Yeah,
okay,
you go ahead.
I can still
Go
address it.
ahead.
Thank you kindly. And so as I was saying, I think it's important for us to recognize that we can't say things like, okay, so anyway, to just bring it all full circle. You said, what's my goal? I spent a lot of time. So I spent a lot of time with my daughter's father. I really am newly single. I have really only been single for about 2 years. And so I'm the type of person, I'm a very, very diligent person. I have been in a relationship since I was with my daughter's father. But as for me, your question directly towards me,
You kind of talk in
am
circles with it. You get the point on it. You kind of bring it full circle for me. You kind of.
okay. So like I think for me, full circle is I'm the type of person that is diligent about dating. So I'm dating, I'm letting people take me out, I'm having fun. but that is not mutually exclusive from looking for a life partner. That is not exclusive from looking for a husband. I very much believe that women can have a good time. I believe that women can date casually and
They
still.
can, but there's consequences behind it, though. That's all I'm saying. You can do whatever you want.
That's your opinion, but that's your position. That's your
Hey,
position.
but why you feel like?
And when
Wait, wait.
you say consequences, what are these consequences that you speak of? Not the whining piece, because you already addressed that. That's not a consequence. Somebody whining is not a consequence. When you say I'm dating casually, having fun, why is there a consequence to that? For me as a woman, and not for men.
Hold on. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I'm gonna get to that. What? I'm gonna get to that. Why you feel like women don't marry their baby fathers? Well, y'all have a baby by man. Why aren't y'all marrying y'all baby fathers? Dude? That's a trend that's been going on in the black community for a while, though.
So I think you should. So when we think about marriage as a whole, right? When we think about proposals, men propose to women. We don't propose to men. So I think your question is better structured for a man, right?
No,
Why
it's not
aren't
structured for a man. It's structured for whoever I ask
I
for.
can't answer that because I'm not a man. I don't know why a lot of brothers choose not to move into marriage with women. And
No,
I'll
no,
be
no, no,
one.
no, no, no. Wait. The women have choice on who have their baby, though. Women choose their baby fathers,
But
right?
you know what? Let me tell you something.
Is it your choice, your body, right? Is your choice, your body, right?
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say.
Are you gonna answer my question?
I am gonna answer your question. Let me
I just
just
want you
say,
to answer that. Is it your choice, your body, right?
may I
You
answer the
choose your baby father. You chose it. So I'm just saying. I mean,
may I answer? Is
you
that
go
okay?
ahead.
Okay. So for me, I think I hold so much love and deference and respect for women who choose to keep their children, right? It's interesting that you sit here as a man, you don't have children, but as a man, there needs to be some level of accountability for Black men. When we think about women and childbirth, the fact that you decided to keep your child in spite of some fuck shit is a beautiful, because life in and of itself is
No, it's
beautiful.
not.
So
No, it's not.
may I finish? Let me finish. Thank you kindly. My mother was a single
Ooh,
mother with 7 children, and my mother was diligent and kind and loving. And in spite of some of the decisions, let me
wait.
finish.
I know what it's
Let me
going.
land. Let me
No,
land
no.
here.
I know you about
In
to go.
spite of some, let me say, in spite of
Wait,
some of the decisions that
wait. This
she
is my turn.
made.
Wait. Let me say this. Let
I
me
have
finish
a
saying this.
friend. This is a dialogue. You got to let me land. You got to
But let me say this. Hold on, wait. I got to interrupt and say this, right? Because I know you about to go with this. I got to say this. You about to say about your mom and all that and having kids and doing that. But let me tell you something. I read a
let me
statistic.
land. I think it's
Wait, let me
important.
finish. Let me run. Let me run the show. Let me run the show. Let me quarterback this. I read a statistic when women was getting abortions good. I ain't telling you should get abortion. Whatever you did, that's your decision. But when women were getting abortions high, the crime rate went low. But when women had kids outside of wedlock, the statistics went up. More people went in prison. More crime rate went high. More kids dropped out of school, joined gangs, young black boys. Black boys are still reading at the fourth grade reading level. Girls are still getting pregnant. That's what happens with the statistics when you have kids outside of wedlock.
Okay,
That
so
is what I'm
let me
saying.
finish my point. So I'm gonna pay deference to my mother and say I appreciate her in spite of all of the shit that she went through to keep me because
So
I'm
you
not the
was raised
father.
out of wedlock too, right?
I want to say that. So let me just say I am paying deference to my mother. Now going to your point about the incarceration rate,
Wait, I
about
asked you a question. Was you raised
poverty.
out of wedlock?
I'm not answering that question. That's not appropriate for this call. That's not an appropriate question.
Oh
But what I'm
shit.
gonna say is, I think it's important for us to address the lack of funding in Black communities for young Black boys, right?
Bullshit. You know why it's bad right now? Because
And
women
we
are
need
choosing.
to address the school to prison
Wait.
pipeline. We need to address redlining. You can't talk about Black fathers not being present without talking about the New Deal, where
No.
if Black mothers
Listen.
had to decide.
Listen. If over 54% of black men are single and childless without kids, women are choosing the wrong men to get pregnant by. That's why it's red hot. Because a lot of times the women are having these babies by men because the men didn't want to have the damn child. They tell them from the get-go, we fucking. They decided to have the baby for some reason to keep the baby because to keep the man, or because a lot of them were
Or
born in
some
broken
people are
homes.
just gonna.
Wait,
Some
wait,
people
wait.
just
Let me
choose to
finish.
keep
Let me
their
finish.
children in spite of. Some
Wait.
people really just choose to keep their children
Let
in
me
spite of.
finish, ma'am.
And
Let me finish. Stop it. Let me finish. They had these kids because they was broke. They had a broken home, and
so,
their
is this
mama
a
had them, and they did,
dialogue, or is this a
and they did it by
is this a
themselves.
conversation for you to
Wait.
lecture me? Because I'm not interested in a
No,
lecture,
I'm not listening. I'm
respectfully.
just having a
This
conversation. I'm
feels
not
like
trying
a
to lecture you.
lecture.
But I'm just
So
saying that's why the prison rate is high, because women are choosing the
the
wrong men.
prison rate is high because when you think about the crack epidemic,
They ain't
right?
got nothing to
Well,
do with
we
no
know
damn
that
crack.
has everything to
Oh,
do with it
hell
when they.
no.
So you have to
No.
address the
Fuck
prison
no.
industrial complex, right? Right now,
Nope.
prison numbers are going down, and private prisons are
No,
trying to
we're going
find a
up.
way. Let me finish. Let me land.
Whoa,
Private.
wait,
Listen,
wait.
listen. Let me.
It's going
This is
up
a
because
dialogue
women are
point. I
having
listen.
kids
I
out of
listen.
wedlock. That's why
Listen.
the prison system going up.
Listen.
Because these
I
kids ain't
really.
these kids knew they wanted to be here. That's why.
Listen, I can't have this conversation with you if it's not going to be a healthy
I'm
dialogue. I
having the
cannot.
conversation. I'm asking questions. You're not
This is
answering none of
not a
my questions.
conversation. This is me being talked at and interrupted when I'm
I'm
trying
not
to make
talking
my
that.
point.
I'm having a conversation. You getting offended for
I'm not
whatever
getting.
reason.
I'm offended because I can't speak. I'm not offended by what you say. I'm
I asked
listening.
you,
I'm
was you
open.
just? I asked you, was you born out of wedlock? That's all I asked you. Was you born out of wedlock? I was born out of wedlock. Then my mother got married. But I said that to say that because that's why the prison rate. You saying the crack epidemic? No, it's not.
It
That's
is.
bullshit.
It
That's
is.
not. Where you got these facts from, though?
So if you do some research, if you look on Google Scholar, if you look at JSTOR, you'll see how the crack epidemic and how the war on drugs really negatively impacted the Black community. You'll also see how things like the federal housing grant program, Section 8, really impacted whether Black fathers could be in a home. So people really demonize Black men and Black women, not realizing a lot of women had to decide if they wanted their men to be in a home or if they wanted housing. Section 8 says that to this day, that's still in federal policy for Section 8. If
But who are
I need
choosing the men,
housing,
though?
let me
But
finish.
who are choosing the men?
Let me
I let
finish.
you talk.
Let me finish.
Wait. I let you
If I
talk.
need housing, am I going to choose to house my children or
But
am
you
I going to
chose.
let a
But
man
who
in
are
the house?
choosing the
So
men?
when people
Whoa,
say
whoa! Don't
that
interrupt me.
Black
Don't
men,
interrupt me,
when people
ma'am.
say that Black men are
Ma'am,
not
don't interrupt
present,
me.
they need to consider some